Officially what was said. This was Fabian when he tweeted about it, so I don't know. Let's see how this goes, though, when it comes to our matchup for this day, our map ban. In game number 2, best of 1 series can go to only a tie, no overtime, as we were watching yesterday with APAC North, for example. Clubhouse banned out by Granit. Villa is our decider. So I'm just going to call them the Fab 5 right now, just because the Fab 5 is a cool thing to say. Removing Oregon. I like the Fab 5, what I'm going to say. Villa, highly technical map to take 2. And I wonder if Granit, given their history so far in CL, are ready for something like this.
Well, what I will give to them is they did win this in the Nordic Championships. A very convincing 7-2 over Gamer Legion. Admittedly, I haven't watched that game, and of course it was a Nationals. It's a bit of a step up here in Challenge League, of course, going up against Fedora. But, I mean, that's better than Fedora's results, which so far I've got 3 losses and no wins. So I will say there's something here for Granit, and to me, I think it's going to be a game of can they deal with the roamers and prevent those flanks, because that's what they really struggle to do against Matchco, typically quite an aggressive team. I think if Granit can just hold that down, yeah, I can totally see them getting their first win on the board and edging out 5th place.
Yeah, I mean, Team Fedora, I keep saying it, Foreing Five.
Foreing Five.
It's because everything online still says Team Fedora, and I have all my tabs up, so that's what it all says. They came to Villa on week 2 here in EU Challenge League. They lost it to Matchco. It wasn't a particularly dominating win, I don't think. No, it was a 7-5. So there's still potential. They've only banned it once in Challenger League so far. I think there's still a chance for them, and I think overall they probably are the better and favored team in this matchup anyway.
All right, let's see how this goes. The 4 and 5, we're just gonna call them the Fab 5, the Granit. How rock solid will they be today? Happen Fluke, take it away.
Well, I guess the big question, it's towards Granit, because they're a team that we saw with some expectation and some skill in the local league, in obviously the R6 Red Bull challenges as well, every single month that Jess and I got to do, and they didn't quite show up here, unfortunately.
Yeah, Granit not really showing up as they might have expected, as Des might have expected, and many in the Nordics as well, because they showed a lot of promise. They were able to, put the fight up to Chaos. However, Chaos now got auto-relegated as well, so they will be in Challenger League next season. And now you're thinking, Granit, what else are you going to be able to make out of this? And they're going up against 4 and 5 or F5. The question is, how refreshing will that org change be?
I'm glad. Apparently the org was maybe announced late yesterday. I maybe tweeted it earlier today, and a couple of people said, "Have you just leaked this?" And I was told,
"Are you the 4 and 5 account?
Am I sus here?" No, I'm not sus. I was doing the task in electrical, and the admin told me that it had been announced. So I tweeted earlier today. I deleted my tweet because they wanted a bit of a surprise on the stream, I guess, as well. Hey, these things happen. 4 and 5, you're here. Let's see if you can kind of make some moves and make some magic today. Granit, you are the tough opponent that you got to face. You're on Villa. Granit is starting on attack as well, so it's not going to be an easy opener for this team, as it could have otherwise potentially been on other maps and other places and playstyles. So, hey, with a Thatcher and a Maverick gone, this is a pretty standard go at these walls.
Now, remember, for 4 and 5, a win means playoffs. That's all that matters for them. That is all they will be aiming for. Heretics will be hoping they will lose, because that would confirm their own spot, and so would Matchco be confirmed in that case. But hey, it is up to see in these next 12 rounds, as it is a best of 1. It is without overtime, to see whether or not we get to see a draw or a win for either of these two teams.
Well, with Valken Mirror rounding it out and rounding us off, let's get into it. As I said before, Granit, they're a good team. They just obviously don't really have technically anything to play for other than being a gatekeeper, other than stopping it. But, you want to give it your all. You want to give it your game, and you want to see if you grow, because if this is your last stint on the big screen, at least until you loop your way back around after potentially doing your locals again, depending on how the system changes, well, we'll see where we find ourselves at a little bit later. Either way, this is it. This is your time on the big stage, big screen. Try and end it with a positive and try and put your names in the mouths of a couple of people as they see you unfortunately walk back off into the distance listening to that very slow Hulk song. AVG is where we start ourselves off. Clash on the board, so she's going to be 6th pick in, brought with a bit of surprise and obviously a bit of a bait and play there with the Maestro cams too, but you know, the main swing is here where we're going to see. Fratelli is probably going to play in one of... Oh, I was going to say 2, but it sometimes can be 3. We've seen aggressive clashes on the top of Brown Stairs. We've seen a lot of clashes round on Pillar. And then we've seen clashes on Study Door. Study Door has become less popular because a lot of teams like to pinch onto landing at the same time, which means your clash is almost instantly caught out. So you'll often see they start potentially where Hayes is, and they pull their way back along this long, beautiful classical corridor. Thank you, by the way, medics, for this wonderful camera work. You've got the Goyos there, adds some possibility of destruction, or they can dig themselves in on the top left of your screens around pillars. You put them with an ADS there, you keep them a little bit secure, and you swing stuff over. Otherwise, this is... No, you go. I was going to say a very long...
I was going to say... There's many places the Clash can play here. The question is, you got to make sure that the back is actually secure, because you're saying it like you can play it on 90, you can play it on the top of the Brown Stairs, you can play it in landing, but there's always going to be places where potentially the back might be the vulnerable spot. So that is something they have to keep in mind here as we are starting off on Villa. The action phase has started. We're 30 seconds in, and it will be a north to south clear, as it looks like bathroom, the master bedroom, and the astronomy will be taken first to continue into Satchery and, of course, Trophy.
Now, as they instantly start making their way across, Granit are wasting no time in getting clarity over the angles that they want to lock down on. Madman is a very sharp, aggressive player, was a recent addition to this roster as they brought themselves into the potential of CL, and has been able to make big moves on other rosters. He's a familiar face across the age and days of Siege, and Granit unfortunately hasn't really been the best place for them to get himself sharpened, as we've seen on other certain rosters. Here, though, there is a lot of pace coming, and there is the clash on that current pillar side and on this long corridor I talked about before.
That's exactly what he has to be afraid of. Potentially a player being near that window, so he has to make sure that he's not overextending. As an impact, will shortly take care of the second charge of the Selma. Opening has been made. JDC will be taken down by Capcan, who's going for an aggressive peek into the second player. That is getting out a grenade right now, just to toss it in, take care of that shield below. My disc will be picking up that grenade and making it explode in a safe distance. Meaning the shield will stay safe for now. 70 seconds left. Granit, they need to find an entry soon.
And the pressure's going to start to cook here. As I said, landing has very quickly fallen under their hands in terms of getting eyes on it. But as you said, getting the pressure and being able to apply it directly is the second step. And it's not proving so intently easy. They have the watch on the stairs, and they obviously have Madman putting pressure on Brown from beneath, but they don't quite have the straight route in that they were hoping for. So it's going to take some frag grenades, some utility, and some possibility of pushing people further and further back, clear themselves that default plant spot they seem so eager to get themselves onto. There's a smoke canister to cover the approach and the destruction here of Vault. There's the second one that goes in deep to make sure it doesn't get impact trick or swung out on. Now they're going to put the pressure on, and Eastwood is going to suffer it at the hands of Capcan, who ducks beneath the smoke, but somehow gets caught in amongst the trade there. Oscar is so close to the default and holding himself pressed against the wall so he doesn't get caught by that smoke canister, but Fratelli might not know Eastwood is only a couple of zaps away. He's going to put the damage in and gets the drop too. There goes Ace. What a missed moment there, but the cover's going down on default, as is. Long firefight all the way across, but the C4 loops over, doesn't quite get all of Oscar, and he somehow gets the diffuser down, and 3 versus 3. Nore gets one, and Oscar gets one more. 3 versus 2. Now it's down to the Clash and the Jaeger, and they somehow find 2 very quick kills almost instantly. It's all just down to Madman, the player I talked about before, hasn't had the biggest impact. There's Clash almost having an impact of her own, doesn't quite get the lock off, but there's a body over the shoulder. There's a body in front of the shoulder. There is the diffuser, and there is a very sketchy Foreign Five first round.
All that matters is that they actually managed to win it. They got the retake down. The C4 somehow not able to blow up the planter, to blow up that Nomad. But, you know, chipped away enough of the HP to allow Fratelli to get the final shots in with the SPSMG as soon as the Nomad rotated out. And as we're going over to the second round now, Trophy, Statuary seems to be picked. Hayes was hovering over the Cavera for a little bit. I doubt that's actually going to be an operator we see, but often when a 6-pick is coming, they shortly show it to us beforehand already.
It was scuffed, I think it's fair to say. I've got to give credit to Granit. They were able to obviously get the diffuser in. They knew what they wanted, and it was that default hold. Yeah, a couple of smoke canisters missed them, and a C4 missed them too, which if that was angled a little bit further to the left, would have been the round over with much less nail-biting tension towards the end. But at the same time, they dug in, found themselves putting the diffuser down, and found a little bit of luck in those C4s going a little bit too far. So, Foreign Five, let's see if you can try and shake a little bit of the rust off. As I said, even if that first smoke canister was a little bit shorter and caught them on the close wall, it would have pushed them further back, would have cut them to half health, and would have meant that things like that slightly misfiring C4, again, would have potentially been the lethal blow.
ID being deployed in the deep corner of the master bedroom. Given, of course, a lot of information, but also having the opportunity to potentially take down any of these Selmas that Eastwood might deploy. Especially if they are not dealing with the utility first. Especially if they do not know that the evil eye has been placed in the position where it is. And that's often a thing. If you manage to keep them hidden, you're going to be getting a lot of information out of it, and you're also going to have an anti-breach or an anti-hard breach tool available to you. Of course, it's a very default spot that it's in, and it's really easy to drone out with just a spot. There you go, the drone already seen it, and now will function as a drone killer, making sure no more information is being fed. And as I say that, quick impact will be taking care of that cam.
Another cam rolls out. Another cam gets more of an idea of where things are going. And obviously they have a big pinch potential here on the Wamai. He's gone with a pretty wide extension all the way down to the bottom. Hey, a ban wave. Haven't seen one of those in a little bit of time. And, well, this frag grenade, if it's caught and cooked properly, could careen its way down towards the Wamai. There's obviously some defenses there, so they want to burn those first. And there comes the burn. There goes JTC, and there goes the gunfire anyway. As Oscar's able to swing around and get the second. Now they are just pushing their way into sight with the same aggression they did before, but it's caught from the opposite side. Hayes, with a little bit of a decoy, is able to jump over the other side and get the opposite kill. There is the potential of a man underneath, and Namia is going to smoke off his own rotation and potentially smoke some aggression, but the drone's going to give the game away. Swings into it and somehow gets the kill too. Madman goes down with the pressure on Astro.
And then just to rotate back into Trophy as well. Comes back behind the desk just to hold off to any potential push from the bedroom, as Oscar is still holding. Badger will be rotating down. It's going to be potentially pushing either from the little balcony. Oh no, he's going to be going up the stairs, going a long way around, all the way through the basement, just to make the least amount of sound as possible. As of course, when you're opening up a window in mud, for example, it's easily to be heard by one of these players, or maybe by a cam. Right now, it's going to be able to sneak up. He starts running. Peaks are coming in. A shot comes in as well. Eastwood able to pick up a kill. That wasn't Badger. You just saw hit that kill. Namia, however, now with the SMG in a 1v2 situation will be picked up by Eastwood. Eastwood was ready on the side. Picked up the side of the head. And Granit will be able to win their first round as well. We're all drawn up.
Granit. They saw some possibilities, saw some attention they could give to the site, and they took it. They were full aggro, and it was in a way, a step up from what they did before. They were, in a way, full aggro before, when they put the diffuser down. They threw themselves in towards the default plant, had one body on the cover, even though they'd obviously just lost control elsewhere. They went, we're losing everything, so let us try. And it almost worked. Here, before we're losing everything, they went, we're gaining, let's keep pushing, let's keep applying the pressure. The Sophia got the opener on the door and then pushed themselves further and further inside. They obviously were able to swing onto the stairs too and get the Wamai there, who decided to opt up and push. Maybe they predicted the potential of the frag grenade and wanted to catch them out in the animation. Either way, unfortunately, it befell them. We find ourselves back onto the same site, and Foreign Five back with a similar loadout as to before.
Means that they are confident in their strategy, but just the execution went a bit wrong. Might be a little bit of a, replacement of some of the utility, depending on how the push came in the last time, which was very bedroom focused. Might, for example, this evil eye is a different one that we've seen before. Maybe a second one will be placed towards the bedroom, bathroom side as well.
Well, now as we find ourselves ticking towards the potential of Granit Gaming stepping up big, able to take their first attack here, will they concern and conserve that energy, or are they just going to keep trying to be as aggro as possible? Badger with the deep clear, potentially through Wine as he opens up the rotation, but it's fair because look at the spread of the defense this time round. They are so left-centric on the site, and I'm curious to see if Granit Gaming read this and throw themselves onto the diffuser as they've done a couple of times before, or if they get themselves caught up. Unfortunately, they get caught up in Fratelli, who swings onto Walk-In and takes care of JTC before they can even begin to apply the pressure they wanted to do last time.
Rotate being called here from Iso. No, actually upside down repel will be the case. Hoping to put up a challenge into the single doorway leading to Statuary there. Won't be able to find anyone as of yet, however, as Madman actually gets the kill going down onto Capcan. Moving through the basement, able to take down a mine. No more discs will be generated, as I think one or two maybe were left to be gained, meaning that there is going to be a bit more of an ease to actually go through. All the utility has been set up. Fratelli spots out the side of the head, but he's not going to be able to land the shots. Went for a prefire, but then Badger comes in from the walk-in closet. Gets one kill. Moves us into yet again another advantageous position for Granit Gaming here.
Now with a minute 30 on, they're looking to try and apply the pressure from the opposite side. No array could be the split here, and the drone could catch them. Madman is the one that has to be aware of this rotation, and drops them. Goodbye. No array before you can even get close. Hayes tries to apply some counter pressure, but the angle's not quite adding up, and already the pressure coming from the opposite side. We can hear the pops start to come through. A mix of flash grenades and smokes are popping all over the site, and Namir is going to try and counter them without the sight lines to actually make it happen. Eastwood looking for a default and goes on the wrong side. As soon as this smoke clears, this could be a big blow for them if they can't quite get the cover on Namir here. He's looking for the close corners and puts the smoke down, but a little bit too late. Kit is planted, and Oscar plants Namir, and there is one more Granit. 2 rounds in a row, both as ferocious as each other.
Both Machko and Heretics are going to be loving this as well. Granit is stepping up and are picking up their second attacking round so far. And remember, we're in Villa. If you manage to get 3 attack rounds, maybe even 4, you have absolutely no excuse to lose the game. So Granit, they're on their way to a victory here, towards their first victory, I believe, in their groups. Not that it will matter for them, but it will for the rest of the group.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by...
Now then, we go back to a site that was bitter and scrappy, as said at the time. It was a little bit of a misstep and a misplay, but as I said at the time as well, if a couple of bits of utility had gone slightly more to the favour of Foreing Five, it might not have been anywhere as close. However, since then, we've seen Granit take a bit of a back foot and still take the round from the clutches of potential death. So maybe they're a little bit more attuned and aware of how they can step up against Foreing Five, and maybe for me now it's not just the misutilities, but a little bit more we need to get out of this defense.
I keep on running the same thing there, like twice in a row. And twice in a row, it ended up in the same result. You had Hayes and your Smoke, the last 2 standing up against the many of Granit. And as of right now, they have chosen to go back to AVGs, as that was the site they won. You're looking back at that round and you're like, that wasn't actually that close. It was a 3v3 post-plan situation that was clutched out due to the clash coming in clutch. But there's no clash this time. That means they're going to purely be focusing on the gun game. Will that work? Because Granit, they seem to be on point here today.
Wow, there's a couple of pre-fired bullets towards an array. If they know that that's a shield that can blow, that might be a little bit dangerous. We can hear pops of explosions already going off, but Madman's going to recoup, recount, and find themselves in a slightly different situation. Study is the first point of Ingress this time round. They think they can have a little bit more success here, and who's to argue with a team that's been able to pull success twice in a row. Capcan blows against the window, but doesn't quite catch anything, and the drones are now going to steadily find the body either side. One behind the strategy table, and one at the top of brown stairs, meaning this isn't going to be as easy as previous, with Fratelli with a big gun, big watch on the opposite side.
Checking the lineups here. Granit, they seem to be moving themselves over towards the master bedroom side with only Madman and Eastwood left in this study. This could be a pinch push to come through if they manage to time this right. That man first wants to be entering up into Arc, but doesn't know if it's going to be safe yet. Doesn't even want to hit the barricade to give away the game that they're willing to play. And thus will be waiting until the right moment is there for him to open up parts of it to crawl through. Puts up a breach. Runs out straight away. And with that, we'll be putting up some pressure, but not too much, and will not be risking his life either.
Wow, waiting. There's a bit of a game. We haven't seen Granit play too much, but unfortunately it's not leading to, well, it was leading to a bit of success. JTC's health started going down, but they're able to quickly pull 3 kills. Oh my! The waiting game was boring them, so they put the pressure on, but Capcan's at least there to stop some of it and stops a little bit more. Long is starting to fall to his favor, but Badger swings back, gets some revenge. 45 seconds. More than enough time for them to shut down the last player of Foreign Five and shut out a site they couldn't quite get before.
The hopes of reaching playoffs for 4 and 5 seem to be dwindling with the second. Because the longer this goes on, the longer Granit seems to be so dominant and unstoppable. The last chance 4 and 5 will have on actually winning this matchup. And again, a win is what they need. A win would put them into the right position to go for the playoff spot that will be played later on. And no playoffs, that means you're going back to your National League and you will have to perform there. As hard as it may sound, or harsh as it may sound, it's the actual truth.
Somewhere out there, Snurleaf is having a great time watching this as Granit, a team that had so much potential and promise, just could not quite find their way in this season. They were always a little bit, I'm going to say, not confident. They couldn't quite have the abilities that they're showing today, and this is easily the best that they have played. Probably much to the dismay of Foreign Five, who probably didn't expect this much aggression, this much confidence, and this much swing into all of the rooms that they're trying to hold.
We had it with Penta and Sisu last year. Penta was looking to be beating both Secret right now, and back in Orglis, and the Fuse Kids to the EUL spot, and then Sisu came in at the last very moment. They had nothing left to play for rather than just upsetting other teams, and it's exactly what they did. They upset Penta, and now it looks like Granit, also a team from the Nordics, they beat Sisu to this spot here in the Challenger League. Even though they won't be making it themselves, they have the opportunity to deny that spot to someone else. And that seems to be their goal right here.
Now, as they try and apply themselves to another site and a new location, I think it's a fair decision of 4 and 5 to opt for a slightly different beat on the rhythm that they're trying to put down here on this game, because seemingly Granit are getting better and better on those top 2, those default takes. So take them tertiary, take them to a third situation, take them to a place where they haven't been taken yet. You might be able to surprise not only them but yourselves with some much needed confidence. Maybe 4 and 5 have been a little bit slower to react today because of the pressures of this game. As we said before and at the start, they were one of those teams with the potential to make their way through and make their way guaranteed if they got the win. And here, well, it seems like that's potentially impacted them like an impact on a C4 from underneath. The first goes Badger off the board. A sledge on a vertical take like this is a very great take.
Very great pick to come in indeed. Smart call using the poles to use and guide these C4s in. But it's not the only C4 they have. Namiya and Capcan, they should be able to have one as well. Actually, no, it's Haze because Namiya already used this, of course. And Capcan using the impacts, but that means there's another C4 available. Flies out, but the player already ran out. This was just enough time to make sure that the escape would happen. And now at 90 seconds left, the pressure is still here from Granit. They're not slowing down, even though they lost a member early on. Because now they can, even though they lost out on the sledge, have some opportunities to open up vertically with the breach in charge of JTC and potentially the impacts of both him and Madman as well.
Well, a bit of a slow, a bit of a stem, and a bit of a repositioning from Granit. We saw them do it the last round where they went for the intense study take and didn't quite get it to land. Oh, there's a take. Oscar gets a body from above. We know that they're a team that is able to adapt and overcome, proven from the very last round. But As I said before, the adaptation here has to come from 4 and 5, and look at this deep roam they're going on. They want to try and strike back and catch Granit before they can make the maths and mental adjustments to reacquaint themselves and re-put pressure onto the site. Eastwood, inside the washroom, is looking to flash around the corner and burn any potential. Here it is down to Oscar to make sure he doesn't get caught. There's a knock on a door, though, and look at the pace of the swing. The plant is going down, and in amongst some flashes, though, Eastwood sticks the landing. And somehow they find themselves in a 4-4, but the shotgun starts to lock things out. They're just going to potentially go for a long arm, swings around the corner, but the body is on the door, at the door on the other side, and there it is, no more. No array gets one. JTC, however, is screaming his way back through. They're trying to stick it, trying to find it, can't quite find the body behind. There is another one. It's cat and mouse here, and the snake is seemingly not ending as everybody is biting everybody's tail. No array wants the long arm. Oscar is above. Can he hear this? Can he swing on this? Can he react on this? Can he drop in time? He knows. It's a very dangerous game No Array is playing right now, and with only 3 seconds, the kill has to come in now. Well, it had to come in from the other way, but Granit, they played it somehow perfectly and fervently in a very furious end.
And that's the thing, when you start defusing with about 12 to 13 seconds left, and you know the other person is upstairs, all he has to do is wait until that 8-second, 7-second mark. You then jump in, you get that kill, and you're guaranteed to win it afterwards. As 4-1 is the current score, Granit are absolutely on a tear right now. Oscar on 7 kills is the one leading the charge. As the Kali and the Amaru are being brought from Granit Gaming. Seeing a bit of question whether or not the rehost will be coming through or not. Ace coming in, 6th pick. There we have it. All right, back to our beautiful faces. That means I just assumed that for the both of us. You know, you don't have to think.
I mean, I'm happy that you're building up my confidence. It's like what Milos says. Milos always makes me confident. I've accidentally set my camera up wrong today. So if I sit properly, it cuts my head off. So I gotta sit like this. But hey, I'm slouching. Granit sure aren't. What a performance that they've put in so far.
They're definitely stepping up huge right here. They're able to pick up 4 attacking rounds so far, even though they managed to, lose their first player a couple of times. They're able to strike back, and they strike back definitely really hard. Because 4 and 5 now under their new org, X-Fedora. Sounds weird to say, because X Division, X-Fedora, now 4 and 5.
Yes.
They have a shot at making the the playoffs rather. But for that, they need to win. A draw, not enough. A loss, definitely not enough. A win is all they can hope for. But currently, you're 4-1 behind on your defensive side, and that's not looking too bright for you. That's actually looking pretty grim.
Yeah, and it just seems like, as I said before, they're a little bit in their own heads. Obviously, there was a lot of weight and pressure on them for this game, and none on Granit. And any competition, any competitive anything, your mental game is very important. And how you're in the mindset and what you're applying of yourself towards the game is something that you can physically see it in action in a game. You can tell when a team is a little bit lacking in the confidence that they've shown before, and it's boiled down to little moments. And some of the most obvious there are they never quite have the solidity. So, for an example, the diffuser was down in the door. They went for a long arm, discovered where a body is, and all of them pushed towards getting that body and trying to keep control on there, which allowed JTC to come up from behind and start putting pressure on, get the, obviously, person going for the kill and get the person going for the planter. And from this situation, you've still got another body coming from behind. You still know that you've got a body that has the potential of locking this off, and getting things threaded and making these kind of risky moments, it's always tough anyway, but it's so much tougher when you feel that pressure, and that is, for me, what is leading to these little missed moments, these little miscounts of throwing utility or positioning themselves or waiting until they have the support to come round and get that lock off before they then go for the phase 2. It's tough.
When you're talking about pressure, then I'm looking at the current rankings and I see Granit is at the bottom. They have nothing left to play for, meaning they play without pressure. And you said it before, and it was said before on the desk as well, if you're not making it as a team, you still have the opportunity to make it as an individual. And right now I'm seeing 5 individuals on the side of Granit playing out of their minds, able to work all together quite well. And if they manage to keep that up, I wouldn't be surprised to see 1 or 2 of these players show up on other teams, either in CL next year or maybe even EUL. Like, you never know when, for example, changes need to be made and you're starting to trial out on T2. These are the players you would be coming up with, the players that don't have anything to actually play for, because, you know, transfer season is coming up again near the major, right after the major. That means there is some time to get used to it, for example, for a relegation battle or anything like that. You never know if teams want to make some changes last second.
That's it. And obviously, when you're looking at how how you view the other groups as well, obviously this is a 2-group system with the playoffs across the both. So they're in a team where they're trying to learn each other and they're trying to learn what their strengths and weaknesses are and the changes that they might be able to make. But then you're also looking at potentially enemies that you haven't had all eyes on. You hear that the other teams are locked. You hear that the other games are set up, and in a weird way that gives you a little bit of fear, because they are able to mark their names down with exceptionally dominant performances. Penta, Kavana, obviously Homeless, and M&M. They're 4 big teams, 4 big worries, 4 more potentials. Worry, 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 stress, stress, stress. What do we change? What do we do? Oh no, things have started to fall a bit apart.
Well, I believe we are able to get back into the matchup soon, and that means we're getting to see that last round of that first half, where either we see Granit walk away with yet another win, or we see Foreign Five pulling in that second round win that they do kind of desperately need, because you do not want to be going over to your defense or your attacking half being 5-1 behind. That is not a sight that anybody would like to see.
As many bombs as they can.
But 4-1, can you get a second on your split? Can you find something else? As we said, if you're heading onto this in a 5-1 deficit, going to your attacks on Villa, apart from very particular outliers, because I'm not going to say, you know, it doesn't happen, because it has happened once or twice, but that's once or twice. That's, you know, one of those stats where it's not just tough, not just taking on the big possible enemy, not just a boss fight, but yeah, it's a couple of boss fights in one. So 4 and 5, mental reset, a moment, take a breath, take a breather. You know that you can play better than what you're playing at. You know you can be a little bit more solid at certain moments, and you know that you might be able to pull more against Granit. Goodbye, cheaters. Get out of here.
Yeah, have fun
Get out of here.
somewhere else. We don't need you.
I thought they... Yeah, and there was a medic.
Give me my elo back.
Medics just said yeet. No, I don't think... No, I was going to make a joke there, but I'm not going to. It's a little bit mean.
I'm higher elo than you, Fluke.
I know, and that's mainly why I didn't.
Alright. 4-1. We are 30 seconds into the action phase. Granit or 4 and 5 neither have made a kill yet, as Badger is, well, he wanted to do a bit of an Assassin's Creed and he's a bit upset he fell off the actual fence, meaning you will have to find a different way to actually look through that window properly.
Now then, as Esports sets themselves up with Ace, one of those operators that is actually quite often banned as you go into a Villa match, because it can offer that ranged power against the hard walls that obviously Hibana could before, but slightly less so now, but it opens up closer to them. It gives you the double charge with a freer cost. Fratelli is the eyes, though. He was going to want to try and zap any of those canisters that get popped on, so it's going to be up to this Madman opening up the angle, looking for the window, and... Oh, caught out by the Wamai. The disc gets the first. The second is taken over, though.
I was going to say, what just caught it? Because it's like, the hatch just opened up.
Yeah, at first I didn't hear it caught, and then I heard the pop, and I was like, ah, there it is.
There it is. There is still one of those Selmas deployed on the wall, I believe. That hasn't been taken out yet. However, the issue now is, yeah, how do you get rid of the gemmer right behind it? Because you cannot really shoot your lance at it, because that would destroy the... Don't do it. No, no, no. Badge.
He wants to do it.
Don't do it, because you could destroy the Selma as well. It's basically counterintuitive here. You need to go from below and then pop in one of those lances. There's no other way you can do it. Or the ace needs to run and then pick it up. It's like, that's the only two options you have as a few kills come in. Lemmy and Capcan both able to pick up one kill. Shot from the sniper will be missing or all hitting, but in the arm. And then Mia will live, as 3 members are active on the top of those brown stairs.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was caught in the middle of a rotation. 3 bodies active on the top of Brown was a bit peculiar if they're all watching towards the one site, but as we move away from the Happy Fox, it's going to be the pressure that moves through onto the site. JPC's seen while they're all there, and there's one in the vault that gets dropped. There's another man inside study. Who cares what room they're in? I'm going to try and swing on all of them. There is still one above ground, and obviously with the diffuser out on the balcony, that's a problem, but Oscar puts us into a 2 versus 1. Fratelli is on the ground. Well, not for any longer. Granit.
Excuse me.
5.
Granit.
5-1. On 5-1 on their attacks on Villa.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just really confused that I still managed to win that round in a 2-5 situation, 2-4 situation rather. Just swing. Where was this the rest of the season? The rest of the group stage? Why are you suddenly doing this? 4-4 and 5, absolutely getting slaughtered.
As I said, unfortunately, and obviously it's the day that it is. And I'll talk at length, as I already have, about what could potentially be impacting play today. I'm not saying it is, and I'm not saying it isn't, but likely factors, things that often lead to this, and pressure is one of them, and confidence is one of them. And to me personally, this is the most confident Granit has played. They're in a 2 versus 5 situation, and their response is to go, site is empty, pushing on, swing on Gunvolt, and then swing on to study for a double kill. Then drop them across the site itself. That's confidence from Granit, a confidence we haven't seen throughout this. 4 and 5, they're getting these opener from positions, and then things start to fall apart when the pressure's applied. Things start to drift away. They're consistently locking themselves in unfortunate 1 versus 1 versus 1 situations because they can't quite keep a handle on Granit. Granit is super confident, sure, but 4 and 5, they're playing maybe the most timid and unfortunately mistake-laden that they have all season. It's rotten timing for those two things to cross if you're a 4 and 5 fan. If you're a Granit fan, as I said, Nordics, Snurleaf, you're having some decent representation today.
Desert you will be happy as well. Like, he's been hyping them up all season long, and they haven't really been able to show any of it up until now. Now we see what Granit can really do, especially when they do not have the pressure. And that shows you that pressure is probably what seems to be holding them back for such a long time. You can already see the tweets coming in later. Wish we could play like this all season long, you know, like the usual stuff you would see after a team who struggles to perform suddenly shows up on that last Playday when there's nothing left to be gained for yourself. Like Granit, they seem so strong right now. I hope we've seen this. Like, if they make it to another CL season, I hope we see this from the start of the season then.
Badger is curiously eyeing towards Modrum to see if they can take care of Namir, but Namir is the one that surprises them. Oscar, slightly beaten up too, and well, it's just going to make sure that they keep themselves alive. It's a pretty good clear so far from underneath. They've been able to pinch the roamer and lock them off before they can start to cause trouble. However, the start of the round on their defenses was often okay from 4 and 5. It was the lockdown on the movements of Granit second that was the problem. So can they push this advantage? Can they push their way through onto site? Can they push for another kill? How have they pushed their way onto site? How is Haste getting away with this? Isn't anymore. Well, they did push.
They did push very, very hard, and they pick up yet another kill, and the damage is already done. It's only up to JTC now, but we've seen them make crazier clutches happen. Just not this time. 4 and 5 able to pick up the first attack round, and is this going to be the start of the comeback? Is this going to be a reverse sweep? Question is, if they can do this as well when there's actually people on the site instead of just 1 or 2. Because it was pretty easy for Haste to just cut through them all and get these kills left, right, and center. Something that just shouldn't be allowed to happen. So maybe they caught Granit off sleeping a little bit, but they'd definitely be awake for this round now.
I mean, that round was a man screaming his way through the site. Obviously, the kills were more spread out than that, but the Sledge, Haze, taking control of the site and realizing it was open, this was all that we saw from Granit before, and this was what took Granit rounds. And if I'm going to talk about confidence, I think that is more than enough swagger and confidence for anybody's books. Learned a lesson. Learned the lesson a little bit potentially too late, I guess, is the story that we might be looking at now as we see them able to clutch their second round of the day and their first attack, but they still have a pretty monolithic task ahead of them looming over them, as well as the board that they know they desperately need to climb for the hope of not being relegated.
That's it, 4-5. They want to be able to make it to the playoffs. They want to be able to have their shot at this elimination bracket. We can potentially make it up to the finals in December, where the spots for EUL are given away. And for those of you that don't know how it works, you basically play until we have 2 teams left. Those 2 teams, under normal circumstances, would be going to the December LAN finals to play up against one another. The winner would be auto-promoted. The loser will be going up against Rogue. Now, the question is, do you really want to go up against Rogue? In this current form, probably yes, but I have a feeling with 7 weeks before that final matchup, Fluke, that Rogue have an opportunity to recover themselves. So it shows you how important the first seed is in Challenger League.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's the kind of danger there is. Yeah, Rogue went on a pretty unfathomable, questionable loss streak. They played their worst. No denying it. Stats back that up, and everybody watching backed that up. It was a nightmare for them. But they have a couple of weeks. They have a couple of spooky weeks to get themselves back together. They claim and they saw and they demonstrated that the ban of Aces shook them to their core. They made a couple of changes to that core after Karjaka couldn't quite pull a season that we expected from him. And now they've got time to build with Hosty, potentially. Or they might go back to Karjaka, potentially. We don't know the inner workings. Nobody does. But you do know that they have time to work on it this time, which they did not before.
And that's it, that's the key change here. The work is already done for one of these teams. Granit have no more room to improve for upcoming matches, as the next matches they will be playing are probably going to be the Nordics, where they will try and re-qualify for CL. As they are out, of course, this is their last match here on the main stage for now. And 4-5, well, they are still fighting for survival. A win would mean qualification for the playoffs. That would mean at least one more matchup to be played. The question is, can they pull out a win here? It's Madman to pick up the first kill. It's Granit Gaming to start a strong, a bit of a pre-fire to come in from the AUG. There is cover as well. I believe this Madman is close. And the classical hallway down, coming into Capkin, swapping over to the pistol. Some pressure coming down from the study, but the secure of the kill will be coming through as Hayes yet again is sneaking himself up in the side, but this time Badger is ready, shuts him down. JTC gets one as well, and Oscar finishes it off. It's a flawless round from Granit, and that means it is 6-1. Also means that the dreams of 4-5 to reach the playoffs are absolutely dead.
There goes some ban waves to market as an unfortunate celebration and commiserations to 4-5. They gave it a bit of a fight at the end, but unfortunately the gap was a little bit too meteoric to pass, and they will pass no further. Let's see if they can at least pull some confidence, some credence back, because, to be fair, Granit had nothing to play for today now, and they have played their best. Let's see a little bit of, I guess, a little bit extra now.
6-2, no hopes left, no pressure left on the likes of 4-5. The question is, will they be devastated by this? Will this mean that Granit is going to be able to close it off, or are they going to be able to play as carelessly as they would maybe want? Do some weird stuff. Make sure that you're going to be able to leave your mark. As the Nordics, for the second season in a row, send their regards to those who are looking to contest the top. Thank you, Des.
Thank you, Des.
All right.
Des. Hey, to be fair, I did a couple of weeks in Nordics. I was there.
That is true. No, I meant Des type the Nordics send their regards.
Oh,
so
okay.
I just stole that.
Oh, you're just stealing
that sentence.
Stealing lines from the Des?
Yeah, but I credited him.
Okay.
Like, I just said thank you, Des. You know, like a good boy.
I'm gonna pretend you just called Des a good boy. 6-2. Granit, you've done very, very well today. And obviously, unfortunately, it's earning stripes when the war's already lost. But hey, what a performance that they've put in for me as a team so far. They were a team that had a lot of growth, to be fair, inside the Nordics. They had a lot of growth inside the Sphere Wars. They were one that, with time, started to turn into a little bit more of a force. And here, well, I guess they have shown up in force. Hayes, he had a lot of confidence in the round that they were able to take before, and now he looks to open it with the same way. But Badger's currently exploring the outside world and seeing what else he can see. Unfortunately, nobody. But nobody saw him, so he can rotate around and find a new position inside the map itself.
Wires being taken out from below, or at least will be attempted to, but Capkin not able to quite hit the shots with the silenced P12, meaning that the wire stays on for now. So that the ADS was actually a wire. There's not even a bandit. What was he shooting?
A bomb has been located.
Oh, the Banshee. All right, thank you, medics. Always are, you know, the man that will help us when we're in need. Out about portraying what we were looking at, just whispering it into our ears like a good old ASMR stream.
Medics is so great. Now, then, as we start to look towards locking themselves in and locking themselves off, it's going to be Eastwood that locks in another kill against Hayes. As I said, he was a bit of a force before, but Foreign Five, with a roster that hasn't quite found themselves today, is going to try and rebuild and reconvene on the pressure towards the site itself. Eastwood is hyper-aggressively holding this door in this position, making sure that nobody can get close. And to be fair, no one is trying to right now. They're playing the slow and steady drone game onto Astro, seeing if they can lock down the body behind the slight barricades that are on the back of the room. No Array wants to try and catch them from underneath before they go for the rotate, but Madman, living up to his name, digs in further and closer towards the pressure, hides in and amongst the quick corner here. They're still pinging and looking for angles and still trying to get a handle on him, but Badger in the meantime drops Capcan on the opposite side of the site. I believe that happened.
Yeah, indeed, and right now Flashbang's being tossed in, but Madman has a really good angle here to potentially pick up the kill. Up onto Nora, as Nora is getting closer and closer. The gun starts showing, a bit of a shot coming in as well. The swing comes there, but it's failing to actually get a Claymore kill to come in as well. Badger will respond. Nora then picks him up and leaves it all up to Oscar, who gets taken down by Fratelli. 4 and 5 able to pick up another round. 6-3 is the current score. All they can fight for here is the draw. It will not be enough for the playoffs, but it will be enough for their honor, for the dignity, for well, what else? Bragging rights? Not really, right? If you draw.
So Dev has now asked if he can steal that line from Dez, and instantly Medics
Already stole it.
Yeah, Medics like stole it. Already gone. I hope Dev says it, and then we could be like, stolen. 6-3.
Recycled content.
Yeah, recycled content. Old me. 6-3. Granit, you have 3 more chances to be able to lock this off and pull some points and put them onto the board next to your name. Something that you've probably desperately wanted to do throughout this entire season and only really now found the ability to. Is the tiebreaker one where it goes by round difference first, or who won what game? AKA, would a win for Granit here push them above 4 and 5?
Yeah, it's head-to-head first.
Head-to-head first, okay.
So it's points, head-to-head, round differential, if I recall correctly. So if you're playing a single round robin, that means that your matches are ever so more important than they otherwise would be. As that would automatically put you ahead of any opponent that you maybe tie up with if you won from them. But it doesn't really matter because both of them will be, you know, relegated down to their nationals again, having to play through it to make sure they could go for a qualification rather than well, potentially playing playoffs, having a shot at that top 2 spot where both groups combine, the best of the both groups, the top 4 of each. Currently, neither of these 2 teams will be there.
Well, Granit can play to pull themselves off the bottom of the board, at least, and what a time to do it at the very end. Doesn't, as you said, get you anywhere further, but it does at least give you some slight bragging rights and some momentum to carry through, because at the time where, in a way, you could still perform, you did. They've decided to try and take Trophy and statuary. I don't know who Sophie is, but I don't think she owns any of the trophies or the statuary building. Maybe she is the realtor of Villa. Either way, she's not quite here, and there's a lot of gunfight going on, so she's probably going to have a lot of remodeling to do on the house after this. Sophie is nowhere to be seen. Instead, they are just trying to take over trophy and statuary. Now, they're looking for the angles that are playing underneath and curious about the rotation on the bottom of the stairs, which cost them before. All eyes are attentive towards the potential rotation around Astro and the pressure that the Ash applied there before.
Mia now hoping to put some pressure down here from the bathroom. Finds a Banshee, will be finding a shield as well. It's Madman that is playing close, is on that rotation, peeking a bit aggressively every now and then. He's hoping to be able to get the drop down onto Nemia, because if he manages to do so, as Nora gets dropped by Oscar, who rotates back into the basement, so is asking to be hunted. It's Capcan to, well, give in to that call. He's chasing down into the kitchen, into the China room. I'm not sure where Oscar will be popping up. It seems like he might be popping up on the back of Capcan. This could be a very unfortunate series of events right here for the likes of 4 and 5.
Now then, as they swing up and catch a bullet into the head of somebody, the frag grenade catches Madman instead. The smoke's gone, and the canisters go with him. Capcan covers the rotation there, and Hayes again with a double kill. They keep finding a bit of confidence when they're allowed to, and they're able to actually capitalize upon it and put some bodies down on the ground. A C4 blows, but nobody's home, and they're concerned about this. The swing goes down. They at least pick up the trade, but almost didn't there. As Oscar threw their life towards it. Blew the C4 first, though, to make sure they tried to use some of their utility, and now it's just a matter of this for Telly. Looking for the entrance onto the site here. 30 seconds, so they have Astro, and they have the door and the otherwise staircase covered, but they don't quite have the lockdown on the body that was playing underneath. Whether they've rotated the landing or not, they're not sure about. There's our answer, yes. And there's their answer, yes. And there it is. Fratelli goes down, and Badger goes down too, though. It's now a 2 versus 1, but now it's a 1 versus 1. And it's just down to Hayes, a player who's been able to step up before, to step up one more time. Confirms the kill, gives the game away, and looking for the quad to lock it off. 10 seconds. They know they've got to push for this kill, and they know that they're going to match them here on this side, and they do! Hayes! A quad kill to end a round where they are, for me, the force that is keeping at least something going here.
Well played by Hayes there. Good decision made. There was no time to go for the diffuser, potentially plant it. So a kill was all he could really do. Probably they had information down on the actual library, on the Astro stairs, making sure it wouldn't be coming up from that side. This red is the only other logical option you could have gone for. No C4 in the operator either. There's right call to be made to go for an aggressive push. Leaves us with 2 match points left here for Granit. 2 rounds left where they could be pulling themselves off of the bottom of the scoreboard. They do need to get that 1 extra round in. So far, really attack-sided Villa. We've seen 8 rounds in total being won on the onto the attack, which is uncommon.
Yeah, that's definitely a way of putting it. As I said before, I didn't want to go far enough and say it's an impossible task, because it's not. We've seen impossible tasks, or seemingly impossible tasks, be done before. We've seen 6-0 reverses on this map before. Okay, they were in a kind of similar situation because they needed it not to get to a draw, and when you're in a 5-1, 1 round is the mistake that could cost you. They lost that, unfortunately, but at the same time, still, with that statistic out the side, if we go 5-1, 5-1, attacker halves on Villa, yeah, that joins a very select club.
It doesn't happen often. Reverse sweep would be to some extent be completed, even though you weren't able to get the win in. At least you were able to match the score. As Oscar going for an aggressive spawn peek from the art studio window. He's not going to be able to put Nora down into the dirt, but instead leaves him with about 50 HP points left, or hit points left, I have to say. In a Claymore, like we've seen a couple of Claymore kills already coming through. I'm wondering if this one will actually get one. I'm not sure if... Would someone jump out of that window?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out, though. As, we've already seen 1 Claymore get a kill this time, and to be fair, Granit have been playing kind of aggressive. They have been in a position where they've been trying to apply some reverse pressure here, and Namiya is instantly trying to, well, make sure he can lock down the loose body. But look at this, JTC is trying to peek back, wants to take this new gun in the hands of Malusi and apply it into the pressure of this, but Hayes off the board first so far on the attacks has led to losses.
It's not really looking well when Hayes dies first. The man who was able to put up so many big plays here for 4 and 5 to keep them into the actual running. And as a drone is going now, JTC has the opportunity to jump out, but doesn't seem to be going for it yet. Even though that Namiya is still droning actively and completely missed JTC his spot. And as the drone now returns, it is JTC who gets spotted out. There goes your opportunity potentially jumping out, and JTC gets swung on by a man on the fence. It's actually in the roof here, sorry. Thought it was on the fence. But at least it will survive. At least it will fight another day or another second up here in this round. Potentially still has a C4 available to him to use from below. Nope, 2 impacts yet again.
Now then, as they're kind of keeping a lockdown here, but it's a little bit of a loose one, they're trying to live against the pressure of a team that has lost their best pressure putter on. Hayes is off, but hey, look at this. They're just going to swing onto site anyway. Capcan, the huge caliber player, is able to actually start a fire here. Badger, well, he's going to be suffering the fire as he rotates out of there and drops down and finds a new location and locale to try and apply the pressure on. 45 seconds left, and they've stacked themselves up here for this default push onto landing, but unfortunately Fratelli on the opposite side goes down, so everything they now have is on this landing side. They're looking to rotate potentially Capcan around and just get a body inside study and make sure nobody can swing onto the door. There is a big change of pace because, oh no, the one man on the opposite side had your diffuser.
Going to be running all the way around, and Oscar is downstairs in art to potentially go for a run out or to put up some pressure with these impact grenades. JTC active still, aggressive still here inside the study. Is going to be able to, well, basically ruin this party as Capcan will be swinging around. He's the man with the diffuser, managed to grab 1 kill. 6 seconds left. They need to go for this plant. There is no time to go for kills. He will fall. The diffuser is now dropped and the timer will be running out. It's only up to Namia, but he's not going to be able to find a single one. Round 11 is won by Granit. And that means their first win will be on the board. That also means they will be ending up in 5th place. As only 3 members are left for the final end screen, for the final picture. And they will be ending up in 5th in the group, as just said before. 4 and 5 failing to do what they needed to do to confirm themselves a spot into the playoffs. And that means we now have Group A completely confirmed as well. Meaning that the rest of this matchup, the next matchup rather, will just be for seeding.
Well, whatever tweet Dez has stored and ready in his tweet section for this, he can send it, and you guys will probably see it in about 3 minutes. But who we're not going to see in 3 minutes and we're going to see right now is our desk. Let's throw it over and see what they have to say about this.
Honestly, yeah, Daz is going to be smug about it, and I think